Act today. It's a critically important bill which ensures that our military will have the resources they need to fight and protect us. And I want to particularly thank Chairman Skelton and both ranking members, McHugh and McKeon, for their outstanding leadership in this committee, making sure that this continues to be the most bipartisan committee in Congress. We work together on issues, and even where we disagree, we have reasonable debates and move on. I think it is a great model for the way Congress should be run, and I also want to thank Mr. Miller, who is the ranking member on our subcommittee, for continuing that tradition in our subcommittee as well. Appreciate the bipartisan spirit with which we have approached these issues. For our portion of the legislation, the Terrorism, Unconventional Threats, and Capabilities Subcommittee focused on some of the Defense Department's most important challenges: the fight against al-Qaeda, as well as other counterterrorism and counterinsurgency efforts, development and deployment of innovative technology in new battlefields, and defending the homeland from unconventional attacks. And again, I also wanted to pause for a moment to thank Chairman Skelton and also Secretary Gates for funding those priorities. We are have moved into a new era of warfare where unconventional warfare, unconventional threats, irregular warfare is a much greater priority, and this budget reflects that. And that was not easy to accomplish. There were some hard choices required at DOD and on this committee to make sure that we funded those priorities. I believe those choices were made appropriately in this bill, and I want to applaud those efforts. Recognizing the leading role that our Special Operations Forces play in the fight against al-Qaeda and in those other counterinsurgency and counterterrorism efforts, the subcommittee's mark seeks to enhance manpower management and improve overall readiness of Special Operations Forces. The subcommittee's mark also seeks to improve interagency cooperation as they pertain to counterterrorism and counterinsurgency matters. It's critically important that the State Department, the intelligence community, and the DOD work together if we are going to have an effective overall counterinsurgency strategy. That's one of the main goals of our mark. The mark authorizes the Special Operations Forces with the equipment and support necessary to effectively conduct their missions. Specifically, we provide $8.9 billion for Special Operations Command and related initiatives, and $308 million to fully fund SOCOM's unfunded priorities. In addition to providing our SOF personnel the tools they need to fight extremist groups, the subcommittee's mark prioritizes irregular warfare, including counterinsurgency, stability operations, and strategic communications. It also directs the Secretary of Defense to submit a report on the assessment of the Department's strategic communications workforce and on use of military public diplomacy. We are also very interested in working better with our NATO allies and have provided $30 million for NATO Special Operations Forces training, which is 10 more than the President's request. SOCOM is doing an outstanding job taking the lead on this with NATO. I was on a CODEL recently in Mons, Belgium, visiting their operation there, and they are making great strides in getting greater cooperation from our NATO allies on counterinsurgency. Our subcommittee also focused on enhancing DOD's use of technology and included language and funding to help protect the United States from unconventional attacks. The mark funds vital science and technology research, encourages the Department to invest in developing and demonstrating technologies for hybrid air vehicles, and establishes a pilot demonstration for an alternative process for acquiring new information technology capabilities. Our portion of the NDAA also prioritizes cybersecurity by directing the Secretary of Defense to have the military departments and defense agencies establish a process for addressing hardware or software vulnerabilities to defend information technology systems, and by establishing a joint program office for cyber operations capabilities to improve the development of leap-ahead capabilities for the Department. The subcommittee has also authorized an additional $5 million over the President's budget request for K-12 and undergraduate educational outreach programs for the services to enhance the pipeline of trained technical personnel to man cyber offensive and defensive missions. That is the most important part of cybersecurity. We will never get to the point where we understand all the threats and are prepared to take them on. We need the best, the brightest, smart people there every day meeting those threats as they emerge and evolve. Finally, the committee fully funds the chemical biological defense and chemical demilitarization programs. These provisions ensure our military remains up to date and ready to prevent and respond to major attacks on the homeland. I look forward to discussing our subcommittee's portion of the larger NDAA, and I commend Chairman Ike Skelton, the House Armed Services Committee staff, and all members of the House Armed Services Committee for their work in constructing this essential legislation. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Certainly thank the gentleman. Now we recognize the ranking member, the gentleman from Florida.